Hi everyone, welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session on answering questions with data. My name is Benedict. I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. Just a bit about myself, I'm an experienced coding specialist and digital skills trainer, as well as having a background in the digital creative industry. And I've worked in the sector for over 20 years. I would also like to introduce our amazing moderator, Sarah. Sarah is also a Google Digital Garage coach and will be interacting with you and answering just about all of your questions via the instant chat to the right there. You can identify the moderator by her name, Sarah, as well as a little blue spanner next to her name. Now, just before we start, I just wanted to call out a few things to help you today. Firstly, if you're having any trouble viewing the webinar at any point, please do try refreshing your page. If you would like to join the instant chat today, you do need a YouTube account, which you can very easily set up by clicking in the box on the right there, you'll see. It's a great opportunity, so please do. And we'll be pausing throughout the session, and Sarah will pass across some of the questions across to me, from the chat box. So please do feel free to fire away with your questions throughout. Now, just to let you know as well, we are running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader offering of courses. If you would like to check out our schedule of upcoming webinar training, please see the information on this in the description below, which links you through to our website. Okay, so that's the housekeeping done. Let's get started on answering questions with data. Now, I'm going to ask you, please, can you please communicate with us where you're actually signing on from? That's always something I love to do, to find out and welcome you. I have got the chat here, so I can see when you actually sign on here. I see one Liverpool Cathedral. I presume you are in Liverpool, so that's great. I got one for the place. But if you can communicate that, that would be fabulous. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome Lisa in London. Excellent. So, and welcome Michael in Coventry, England. Lovely. And Shahzad, welcome from Saudi Arabia. Mariana from Madrid, bienvenido. Hablo español, viví ahí durante 7 años. Okay, so welcome, Mariana. Tori, welcome from London. Let me see now. Arman from Rotterdam. Tony from St. Albans, Hertfordshire. And Violetta from Stevenage, England. And Michelle from Liverpool Cathedral. Sanjaya, I'm working the pronunciation there, from Sri Lanka, and Philip from London. Okay, great. I'll keep my eye on that if anything else develops there further. So today we're going to help you particularly to firstly, it's really understanding the really important questions to ask about your online activity. The second one is understanding how to actually make sense of online data to address these questions, because there are data analysts and it sometimes can be very hard to understand all these things, what you need to ask. And then the third one is using the data from Google Analytics, to actually understand what it tells us about our business and everything. And welcome as well to Jigiga from Ethiopia, I think. And Kapar from Poland, usually Winchester, England. Okay, that's great. All right. So let us move on. So first things first. Oh yes, and one of the things I want to center on here today as well is, what are the right questions to ask? When you sort of working this out, you've got to ask yourself, what are you actually trying to achieve? What questions do you need to answer to actually help you achieve your particular goal? Also, which reports can help you find the answers that you need? And what are your next steps as a result? It's a kind of rewording of what I've covered already on those 3 points, but just to help you really gauge what we're covering today. Now, before we get started, there is a great opportunity. There is free mentoring available from Google. At present, it's only for small businesses and charities in the UK. Hopefully, eventually this will develop to the rest of the world. But for now, it's only the UK. But it's a great opportunity. It is totally free. And it's training with one of, well, not training, sorry, I mean, you have mentoring with one of us, and we're there to help you and assist you with your particular things, from ranging from, well, digital skills where you may need support from building a strategy to finding more customers online, all these different things and many other things we will cover with you. All right, so asking the right questions. Now, in this next section, we're actually going to look at the most important questions you should be asking about your business, in particular, how it is actually doing online. All right, so I'm going to introduce here an overarching 4-step framework at actually getting answers from data. All right, so getting the right answers involves asking the right questions, of course. So this is used to help you make sure you're getting the right questions. And it's also a framework for thinking about the types of goals or objectives you should be setting to measure the success of your business online. What is success for your business online? So we got here, what is my objective? What question do I need to address? Where do I get that information from? And what do I do with that information? So let's look at the first one. What is my objective? Firstly, of course, it is defining what your objectives are, which fits in with, of course, your business, the brick and mortar and everything, putting it across onto the internet objectives. All right, so okay, there are many, many things you can actually track and measure using data from the internet. Now, one reasonable question is, what is important to track and what is not? Now, your online objectives should really tie into what your business is trying to achieve. Very, very important. Now, we do cover defining your online objectives in our digital marketing strategy session. So if you'd like to learn more about it, check out the schedule in the description below to actually see when we're actually running it. Okay, great opportunity. All right, let's look at the second point here. What question do I need to ask? Okay, so in order to get the right data, you've got to frame the question correctly. We're going to have a look at this framework here. It's a RIAN framework here to help you. So these are types of questions to ask about your business. So, these are a couple of the different questions. We've got reach, engage, activate, and nurture. And really, this is with the funnel, getting closer and closer to the, the people and everything. So reach, engage. So who is my target audience and how do I reach them online? And then are they finding what they need on the website? Activate, are they booking, gradually reducing the funnel? And then nurture, are they actually coming back for more? So we're going to walk through some of the reports that actually relate to each section, shortly. All right. So reach questions. How are people finding me online? What were they looking at? Was it social media? Did they search for a particular thing and it was one of your blogs? Was it a particular page? How are actually people finding me online? What keywords were they searching for? If they were using a Google search, for example. And then what are my target customers searching for? What are they looking for? This is a big thing. Are they actually finding it when they get there? Is it in the right direction? Or are you getting people looking in the wrong place? Therefore, you're getting the wrong crowd. Now, there are keywords, of course, 1 or 2 per page normally, but of course, don't forget, you've got one for each of the different blogs, for example. But you've also got the side of negative keywords. Negative keywords are to try and make sure that the wrong crowd don't find you. Okay, so next one here, engaged questions. What are people engaging with once they actually find you online? What pages do they go to? How long do they spend on them? What is engaging them the most? So which of my online communications are people, there we go, engaging with the most? And then here with the activate, which channels are actually driving bookings and who's my customer? So these are a couple of different things to answer for yourself to find the answers to particularly. All right. And then we've got over here nurture questions. Are my customers talking about my business online? And also, do my customers buy from me again? This is a big thing. Are there a lot of reviews being written and everything? This can really help our masses. All right. We are now going on to questions. None yet at the moment, I believe. I'll just check that that's still the case. So that's the first section that we've covered, which is great. Now we're going to move on to the second section. All right. Second section, which is, of course, which tools to use. So which tools we use to get answers to our RIAN questions. Let's have a look at some of these different things, okay? So where do I get that information from? This is the third question here. So there's various tools, of course, such as Analytics, Google Analytics, AdWords, Google AdWords, Search Console, Google Search Console, and social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. They actually provide information. Each of the different social media provide information we actually need. This analytics or insights, often it's called. We need to actually answer the crucial business questions we went through earlier. Okay. One which I'll particularly pick out is Google Search Console. As soon as your website appears on the internet, Google becomes aware that there's a new website on the internet. They send their good spiders and bots to check out as much as possible. Once they've got that information, they get as much information as possible for the index card for your website. So this is gradually helping you put yourself onto a searchable or findable website on the internet. So do check that out. It's totally free, of course. You've got to register that this is your website, verify it with a code and everything, and you're through. Okay. Now, the tools that we use, the tools that we can use. Of course, there are many tools, obviously, to gain insights and answer the questions. If you have a business account on a social media platform, they tend to have their own tools, as I mentioned already. And organic search like a Google Search Console and Google Business Profile all help you with organic search as well. And you can track every click made on your own website using Google Analytics as well. So, there's many different sides. So there's social, organic, your website, and then, of course, paid search as well. So social media page insights. All right. So, for example, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, they all offer page insights, where you can actually see how people are actually engaging with your social media and finding how long they spent on the video, when do they actually go out from watching the video. All these different things is a particular thing where you're losing them on or something like that. So it's a super handy tool if you have a Facebook page, set up for your business. Some businesses don't set up separate websites. So social media might be your main way to really engage with customers. Social media is well known for communication, particularly. And of course, it's a free tool on all business pages, measure all online on-page activity, and you can get information about page fans, of course, as well. Okay, so that's social media page insights. All right. And then there's Google Search Console, which I did mention already. I won't go over it too much, but it's largely to help you. Thank you very much, Sarah. She's providing the links for all these different things just to help you a little bit to get an idea. So Google Search Console particularly, I would highly recommend. It's just very useful. All right. Google Business Profile. Now, this is a tool you can actually use to manage your online presence across Google Search and Google Maps. This is really what puts you on the map. Now, if you work from your own home, this is absolutely fine. There's no problem with that. I just want to bring to your attention that when you're registering with Google Business Profile, they will ask for your address. The very first time they're asking, when you're registering, they're asking for Google. This is just for Google, so they can send a postcard, so with a code and everything that you can enter in once you get it. It's that kind of things. There's a later stage where you choose for the public. And then obviously you can set a region instead of an address if you don't have a business or, business office or anything like that. So just to make you aware, because a lot of people get quite worried when they're asked that information, but it's only the second time when they ask that particular thing, you'll see. Look out for the public. Okay. And of course, the great thing is it does put you on a map. Whether you want the particular address or if you want a region, it does put you on a map. So there are different things you can use there. There's one particular talk I'd recommend: Get Your Business Visible on Google. There's a session on that I'd recommend for you to check out. And of course, Google Business Profile has its own insights that show you how well your business listing performs. Do people actually find you on the map, then click for directions, or give you a call? These kind of things. Okay, so that's Google Business Profile. Okay, then there's Google Analytics. Okay. Sorry, I'm chuckling because Google Analytics is, it's a very big program, and when you get onto it, it can be quite overwhelming. But I'm going to try and help you a little bit, particularly with Google Analytics, and assist you a little bit with it. Okay. Now, you can sign up for free, of course. It's the most popular website analytics tool. You monitor every click on your site, and we will really have a very close look at Google Analytics today. All right, so let's just see. Okay, no questions at the moment. I'm sure Sarah's answering all of them, which is absolutely fabulous. So do make sure you take note of all these links as well and everything, or copy them and, so open them as a new tab, whatever, just so you've got them so you don't lose them. There is one thing that up to 24 hours after I've given this talk, you can go back to this same URL, same address and everything. You just go, obviously don't do that now, you'll miss out on the chat. But if you just leave that tab open, you can go back later and check out, all right. Okay, so let us move on to using the data from Google Analytics. Okay. And this is one of the things as well with Google Search Console. It gives you a little bit. It gives you how people found your website, what keywords they were looking for. So it gives you that Google Search Console. Now, obviously, that's a precursor of Google Analytics, which has got masses of information. Okay, so we know what we want to ask. Now we know where the data is, okay? And so how do we put the two together? We're going to actually use Google Analytics as an example, all right? But remember to use whichever tool is right for your business. Very, very important. All right, okay. So what do I do with that information? Which is so important. There's a lot of people I ask, so have you got Google Analytics, for example? And they go, oh, yeah, I've got Google Analytics. Okay, great. When did you last see it? Oh, last week. Okay, great. What did you see? It looked good. Okay, good. What have you learned from that, and what are you putting into operation from that information? And often people don't really know at that point. Oh, I don't know. But it's that kind of cycle. It's putting all of this information, and using that information, and then seeing the result, and then it is a cycle that you go through each time. You're learning this, and then you're putting that into operation, all the rest. So, okay, so what do I do with that information? A very important question. So, Google Analytics dashboard. Now, you will see on the left-hand side it says Home. You click on Home. That is actually your dashboard. There are preset dashboard things which are there already, but you can change it, you can add to them, you can put whatever is very important onto your dashboard. I highly recommend that. Okay. And the point is, Google Analytics can be quite overwhelming. There's just so much information. What can I use? But the point is, in this section, I'm going to show you where to locate the information to answer some of those business questions. Obviously, not all of them, but some of them. And analytics has its own language. So if you don't understand any of the terms, then, I'm talking about when you're looking at Google Analytics, then hover on the question mark beside them for, an explanation. So, for example, if you may see the number of visits is different from visitors, because one visitor, can come back for multiple visits, for example. So you can discover who your users are by geographic location. For example, discover how you acquire them, what the keywords they were using, or what social media they were looking at, and they went onto your website, the visits, and when they visit. Okay, so quite a lot of information. All right, so how to set up a Google Analytics account. Okay, now, this is where I'm going to start to talk about two different sides, because Google Analytics, at present, it is still, there are two versions of Google Analytics. Now, if you signed on already with Google Analytics, if it is since 2020, you will probably be on Google Analytics version 4, which is the latest version, and halfway through next year, a lot will be changing. All the different websites will be changing onto Google Analytics version 4. Google Analytics 3 is the kind of older version, but a lot of websites are still on Google Analytics 3. You can set it up for having both Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4. Now, if you've got analytics.google.com in front of you now, just to help you, if you've got it open there, you click on the looks like a little cog bottom left, it takes you through to the admin. If you see 3 columns in front of you, you're in Google Analytics version 3. If you see 2 columns, you're in Google Analytics version 4. Okay, I'll explain Google Analytics 3 mainly today, but a little bit on Google Analytics version 4. I'd also recommend, if you are on Google Analytics version 3, that you take advantage of Google Analytics Academy. Yes, Google Analytics Academy. I recommend that one. It's helpful. There's beginners, intermediate, advanced. They're all 3 levels. You get a certificate for it, kind of nice. But I'd recommend that you do that just to learn about it and as much as you can, which is important. Now, obviously, you can set up Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4. If you're totally new to it, maybe just stick with one and get to know it. The other thing is, if you're signing up with Google Analytics now, or since 2020, it'll be in Google Analytics version 4. Okay. We do sometimes in some of our talks, we do center a little bit on Google Analytics version 4. If at present, because we don't cover too much of that today, don't forget you're going to YouTube, look for Google Analytics 4. I'd recommend you just start off with Google. I mean, obviously the third-party ones, which are great, I'm sure, but just start off with the Google version. They're all free on YouTube, just to help you to get to know it. All right, so okay, so of course to access you go to Google analytics.google.com. All right, you name, of course, your account and everything. You choose the industry category to help you when you actually benchmark against others who are actually tagged the same industry, consumer electronics, marketing. And there's anonymous, but at an aggregate level to give you an idea of what your bounce rate is against others. Now, the other thing is, bounce rate can be sort of around 50%. That's quite typical. If it's going up to 70, 80, then maybe it's a little bit more worrying about it. But, obviously there are different ranges of the bounce rate, but it informs you when people go there and come off and they don't do anything. Okay. So where to find the tracking code? I'll tell you about both. Now I'm going to tell you about Google Analytics version 3 and Google Analytics 4. I'm just going to take myself off the screen just so you can see it a little bit better. Now this is with Google Analytics version 3. You can see there at the top, you can see there tracking ID. You can see it's under tracking info, tracking ID, tracking code there, tracking ID on the right-hand side. And there you've got the actual UA, and you can actually put that into the header of each of the different pages. Okay. Now, once the code is, found itself, needs to be embedded within every page. Now, this code sits above the head. So if you look for in a page, there's a header, there's a header, and there's the body, which is the main content of the page, and then there's a footer. The header is kind of preparation for the browser when they're about to put the page there. So it would be in the would be in the head, within the head tag, because it starts with square brackets. You've got square brackets, head, and then it ends off /head. So it's got to be somewhere in that area. All right. Now keep in mind that every time a page loads, the tracking code will collect and send updated information about the user's activity. And Google Analytics groups this activity into a period of time called a session. The difference here now with the Google Analytics version 3 and Google Analytics 4. Google Analytics 4 has events, but this one is session. Okay, so how to install the tracking code, which I sort of covered already. Okay, so regardless of how you actually build your website, the code needs to be installed on every page of your site. Now, of course, a lot of you won't be, with coding and everything. That's absolutely fine. But more and more of the builders, they provide plugins and that kind of thing for it. Okay. So your developers should be able to help you with this. This is very important. In other words, your host as well. Your host, obviously, if there's someone developing your website, they can help you. But if you've got a host, you can speak to the host to ask them for assistance. But if you build the site yourself using WordPress, Wix, or GoDaddy, for example, Shopify, many different ones, there normally is a guide to do this on their website. Okay. And if it's WordPress, for example, either install a plugin or save themes or templates, allow you to actually just enter in the unique tracking ID. All right, so that's the tracking ID. Now, if you, with Google Analytics version 4, just to go back here, you don't actually have the tracking ID. What you have in the second column, which is property, you will see there data streams. I know most people say data. I gotta say data. That's my pronunciation. So data streams. You click on data streams. You're taken through. You'll see if you've got many websites, they'll appear listed there. But if there's only one, it'll be listed there. You click on it. It opens up. And when you actually see it there, then of course you will see upper right, you will see their measurement ID, because of course that's what it really is. And of course tracking has not got such a good name now, so that's why Google has changed from tracking to measurement ID, because that's what it is. It's to measure the numbers and everything. Okay, so measurement ID you put in the header of each of the different pages. There's another important point with Google Analytics version 4. G tag is very important, which is further down. You need to enter that as well to help. Okay. All right. So going back to this now. Okay, now you've set it all up. You can see number of people appearing after about 24 hours, whatever. That's great. You can see something's happening. Now, all of Google Analytics reports are actually grouped into 4 main areas to help you really to understand those questions, that we mentioned before. So you will see these areas in the navigation menu on the left side of your home screen. So the big thing is, of course, who are my users' audience? How did they find me? Acquisition. And what did they do when on my site? Behavior. And have they completed the goals I want to track? Conversions. Now, this has changed in the listing with Google Analytics version 4. Behavior is now called engagement, which is kind of more appropriate as well. And then conversions has now changed across to monetization. Okay, each because it's just more appropriate for what it is. Okay, so that's what you would look for in Google Analytics 3, and also what you'd also look for Google Analytics 4. The most important thing is you just know there's a reason why it looks slightly different from the other ones. If it's Google Analytics 4, you'll know the way to check with the admin, 2 columns, Google Analytics version 4. Okay. Now, for conversions or monetization to work, goals have to be set up to track specific actions. Very important. Now, once you've mastered the basics, this is really worth doing. Google will then use that data and show you a series of reports. Now, what is really nice as well, it'll give you another column with the goals that you've set within Google Analytics. And you try to put you click on it so that it puts the highest of that column right at the top. You can really sort of follow the ones who have gone ahead and bought or downloaded the PDF or read the whole blog, or there's many different things. It doesn't have to be selling. Then you can have them at the top and follow their particular route and learn from them, because they are your possible prospective clients, you could say, as well, or they are your clients. Okay. Now, a couple of different things. Now, information Google Analytics is laid out in tables, all right? Now, while this is Google Analytics specific, most of the products we actually have discussed lay out data in a similar way. The first column you can see here in green, well, the green rectangle around it, is what we call a dimension, okay? And a dimension is an attribute of the customer's website visit. For example, if we find ourselves asking a which or what question, it's a dimension. And some examples include device type, city, age, gender, for example. Now, a metric is a measure or count of something. For example, if we find ourselves asking a how many question, for example. Okay. So we've got the dimension and we've got the metrics. Now, you can see particularly in this one, they've got organic search at the top. Now, that's really good. It's quite difficult to get your organic search get high rated in the organic search that on the first page. That can be difficult, but to have it right at the top is amazing. And then they've got referral, direct, paid search. Sorry, just take this myself off. Social, affiliates, and display. And then you can see the different results there, which is very useful. Okay. All right, now using Rian to ask the right question. So we're going to run through the Rian questions we covered earlier in the session, and actually map this to where we can actually get the information in Google Analytics to find the answers. Now, if you've got your analytics.google.com, please don't forget that you add some of these, or either you note it down, which is absolutely fine, obviously, or if you've got analytics.google.com, find it and then put it on your dashboard so you can immediately see it there. Okay. So how are people finding me online? Now, I will only be covering this side actually with Google Analytics 3. I won't be covering Google Analytics 4. But as I said, there is a 45-minute talk we give, which is also same topic, but is actually covering Google Analytics version 4. Just look out for those. They can help you. Okay, now as the question is about how people find us, start with the acquisition menu. All right, so Google Analytics acquisition. So how are people getting to your website? Now, with those Google Analytics acquisition, all traffic channels report, sorry. All right. Now, organic search sends us the highest number of visitors with referrals coming in second. Okay, so we've got all that information. Now you can see with this one particularly, this is the example we were showing to you just now, actually. We've got here, again, the one with organic search at the top, then referral. So there's a lot of things there which we had the screen on before earlier. Okay, so that's for reach. Google Analytics, acquisition, all traffic channels report. So organic search, of course, sends us the highest number of visitors with referrals coming in second. Now, if you click on the link in blue, you'll see there one of those, like organic search referral. It'll take you into the next level of data. So it give you a lot of information to really help you. What particular thing were they searching for by organic search? And you can use those and learn from them and see which ones were successful and which ones, so long as you set up goals, have gone through and actually bought from you or downloaded the PDF or that kind of thing, communicated with you. Okay. So how are people finding me online? All right. So Reach, what could we do with this information? This is a very, very important question. Now, as I said, if you click on the link in blue, it'll actually take you to a deeper level. So for the organic search, we could actually see which terms we're being found for, which keywords they're actually using to find your website. Also, if we're doing a lot of posting on social media with the intention to drive traffic to the website, then we can track it arriving from there, and then referrals are other websites that send traffic our way. So we could investigate them and see whether we can strengthen our relationship with them. And then if there are some referral sites that aren't doing so well, how can we work together to drive more traffic as well? So it's those particular sides. All right. Okay, using Rianne to ask the right questions. So what are people engaging with when they actually find me online? Okay, let's go over this now. Let's see how you can find out this information. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? So you go into Google Analytics. Let me take myself off the screen so you can see it clearly. So go to, of course, we're in Google Analytics. We go to behavior, site content, all pages. So that's Google Analytics, of course, behavior, site content, all pages. Now, all of this is about what people actually do on our site. Find the answers in the behavior section. So this is behavior, site content, all pages report. Now note the primary dimensions is page. You see that the different pages, home, and home is typically at the top. Here we're interested in the metric page views that is in the column next to the dimension page. You see that there, the number of people visiting it. Now this report tells us which page users come across and navigate to when they are actually on our website. We can tell from the metrics in the columns running left to right how engaged users are with the various pages as well. Okay. All right. Let's bring myself back and move on to the next one. So, all right. So have you taken each note of these different sides? Actually, we're doing quite well in time, I believe. Yeah, we're about halfway. Okay. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? Okay. So what can we actually do with this information is the most important thing. Learn which pages are actually, the big thing is you can actually learn which of the pages visitors spend their time and which they leave quickly. We can understand what they like in order to create more interesting content for them, particularly as well. If we have a video on a page and people hang around on that page for longer than it takes to play, then maybe they're finding it interesting. If they all leave halfway through, what is putting them off? Is there a pause? Does the light go briefly or something, or whatever it might be? If we get lots of traffic to a page but a high bounce rate, then we need to check if we're showing them what they actually want to see when we actually get them. And we can also see if any of our processes need reviewing. Lots of, but the typical one is abandoned baskets, might tell us there is a problem with the checkout. Make sure it's nice and smooth and intuitive. They can just do it so simply and so quickly. Okay, so that's some of the different things with Engage, all right? So on to the next part of the overarching 4 points here. So Brian, so which channel, sorry, I beg your pardon, the third point, Brian, which channel is actually driving the most bookings? So this is really with Activate. Activate is all about getting people to take the action we want them to take. Could be as easy to understand as a sale. If we don't sell online, it could be ringing us up in order to book, downloading a white paper, or filling in the contact us form, those kind of things. Okay, so which channel is driving the most bookings? All right. Now, again, we want to know information pertaining to where people found us. So check out the acquisition area. Now, we looked at the report earlier too, but this time we are focusing in on the conversion metrics, where we're actually buying stuff, where they're downloading, they're all calling. In the far right corner, you'll see there's got a blue box around it. Here we are talking about registrations and translating them into table bookings, and this particularly you can be using if you set up certain goals as well to help you and assist you. Okay, so what can we do with this information? Okay, all right, if you click into referral, so with the acquisition all traffic channels, if you actually click into referral, remember you click on the blue just to show you here. If you actually click, you see those blue listed, those metrics, you click on them, you get further information, don't forget. So if you do click on a referral, you will actually see which sites are referring the most traffic. Are there any that are actually driving lots of sessions and users, but few conversions? Are there any that have a high conversion rate? And for those that are actually driving volume and converting traffic, is there anything we can do to improve the relationship with that site? Is there anything we can collaborate on? Can we turn this into a partnership? And then for low quality traffic, lots of, one-page view sessions with a high bounce rate, for example, perhaps from an unusual looking website when you check it out. Should we be filtering this out of our reports? If it is a bot or spider, it will be filtered out by the view setting that you can actually check to filter bots and spiders. Sorry, I'm not talking about insects here. Of course, you understand. Bots and spiders, as you know, are the technical things to get all this information. Okay, perfect. Oh, wonderful. We've got some questions coming up. Sarah's just brought my attention to it. I'm looking forward to that. That's good. So using Rian to ask the right questions. Okay, so nurture. Now, nurture is about what happens after we have actually activated the relationship. Do they leave a review somewhere? Book again. All right. So are my customers happy to leave a review? All right. So as well as monitoring reviews on sites with Google Business Profile and Facebook, to answer this question, you can collect and track post-purchase reviews on your own website. Now, this website has set up the key points of their sales funnel as a series of goals. Remember those goals that you need to set up? These are the goals. So they can track them in Google Analytics. Because you're looking at a goal, check out the conversion menu. This area is highly customizable. So will be empty until you actually start creating goals to track. And normally it'll say that you need to set up some goals. Goals don't have to be e-commerce. They don't have to be. They can be anything that is a key action for you. Do they download, PDF? Do they sign up for something, or, visit a certain number of pages, that kind of thing. Or spend a long time on a blog page. Therefore, they're reading it, they're interested. So are my customers happy to leave a review? So what can we do with this information? Now, of course, conversions are a bit more advanced, but well worth getting to grips with when you have a handle on the basics, okay? Now, if you really want to learn more about dealing with reviews, then check out Writing for Social Media. I highly recommend it. We talk about that particular site, Writing for Social Media. and also dealing with positive and negative with a proactive response, to try and solve the different problems. All right, get genuine feedback from people we know have bought our products. Respond to all reviews, good and bad, which I was saying. Sorry, try different ways to encourage. The big thing is, I will say often, even when I'm in the store, oh, yeah, I'll leave a review. Yes, thank you. Then I leave, and then I forget. So it's really helpful if you can find ways to encourage purchase to really leave a review. What works best, and kind of do more of that. All right, I think we're on to our questions. Excellent. So Mimsy, okay, great name. So Mimsy, what's the difference each version? Which one? Okay, yeah, absolutely. All right. Good question, Mimsy. What's the difference? Now, obviously, Google Analytics version 4 is the most up-to-date version. The reason why a lot of people who are set up with Google Analytics version 3 already, I recommend you use Google Analytics Academy, get to know Google Analytics really well before you change onto Google Analytics version 4. And then sort of try and apply all that knowledge you acquired there and then find it on Google Analytics 4 and how it's different or what reasons and all that kind of side. That's what I'd recommend. That's my own personal view of the way of tackling it. Now, if you've recently signed up, or since 2020, you'll be on Google Analytics 4. You've got no choice. You can't go back to Google Analytics 3. However, Google Analytics 3 can set up Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4, so you've got both running. One of the things with Google Analytics 4 at the present, you can't really get much of the memory or the history and everything. So it's quite useful to still have Google Analytics 3 at present to go back to some of the history of the different things that you've done. So Mimsy, yeah, Google Analytics 4 is more advanced, it's more up to date. There's some changes they put into operation. It uses G-tag and that kind of thing. But yeah, to sum it in a few words would be hard, but I hope that gives you an idea, Mimsy. Maybe just start with Google Analytics 3, get to really know it, and then Google Analytics 4. But if you're on Google Analytics 4, just get to know Google Analytics 4. Meet Vayaz, how to decrease bounce rate. Very good question. That largely you'll need to research. You need to find, if you see the bounce rate, if you can find out exactly what particular keywords they're looking for, where they were coming from, and then you can find out, as much as possible is when people are looking for something and they're not finding it, or they're going to the page and they're not getting what they need. Now, a lot of people want pictures, videos, to be able to see if they resonate with this, or if your page is not search friendly, then of course, it's all kind of web friendly. It's quite, the worst one is when you terribly mobile, put the website there and everything's really tiny. So you've got to zoom in. I mean, obviously, most website builders, of course, are dynamic. So they change according to the size of the screen. The way you can check it when you're building it, you're testing it out, just click on the corner if you're on a laptop or desktop, and then just diminish the size. And eventually it should change to mobile size. Okay. So I hope that helps you. The way to decrease it would be finding out those negative keywords. Now, negative keywords, you've got a minus, and then of course the negative keyword, and that will help you hone down to make sure. I think to a large extent, bounce rate, if you've got a high bounce rate, there are going to be different reasons. One of the possible reasons is you're attracting the wrong crowd, therefore, obviously, with negative keywords to make sure you don't. The other possible reason is when they go to your website, they're not finding what they're looking for. So think about what your clients will be looking for. Put yourself in their shoes to work out why are they leaving immediately. What do they need? And maybe have a look at some of your competitors and see, what particular things, maybe successful ones, and see what particular reasons why other people would stay longer on that one. What unique selling point are you providing, which is just so great? People don't want to miss out on. So hope that helps you, but meet Vayaz. Jesse Ray Maravilla. Okay. Can I enroll more than one site with my Google Analytics account? Oh, yes, you can. Absolutely. You can have many. I've got many already. Or can you, or do I need to enroll each? Oh, yeah, you need to enroll each site individually. Absolutely. Because you go through the process of verifying it. Then you put the thing in the header. the G tag, whatever, depending which you're using. But yeah, you can set up each one individually. You'll need to do that. Yeah. Studio 3 photography leads. Sounds good. Under organic, the keyword is not provided. Okay, yes, very good question there. Studio 3 photography leads. Sure, that's quite a mouthful. Okay, yes, the reason it's not provided is a lot of people do not want people to track them at all when they're on the internet. And I'm afraid if they provide, no, I will not communicate any information. Unfortunately, that's the reason for the not provided. I know it's frustrating, but that's the reason. Mariana Paredes Ribera. Acquisition, all traffic, channel, activate. What is it? Very good question. What is Google Analytics for? I'm afraid I can't really cover it in the umbrella of what I'm covering today. But look for this one gets started with Google Analytics, but look for ones which are 45 minutes long. That one, those particular ones, if you book one of those, we explain that and go through all of that, okay? There's just not time, I'm afraid, on this one. Michael Barrett, our new website we are building will all have multi-playing videos on it. Great. Can we find which video is the most played? Yes, absolutely. Then again, of course, it is tracking. Ideally, if you could, of course, if you put the video on as a YouTube, of course, you can be tracking it on YouTube Analytics. Don't forget, of course, Google Analytics and, well, YouTube is, run by Google. So, of course, it's using a lot of those different things across in YouTube, and you can track masses there. So what I'd recommend is you actually run them on YouTube and have them embedded there, if possible. If you can't, then there are other ways, but a little bit I can't go into that much detail, but I hope that helps. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mimsy, Meet, Jesse, Studio 3, Mariana, and Michael for those questions. That's great. Okay, I shall move on. So what are your next steps? Okay, yes, actually, we're doing extraordinarily well. Yes, we might actually finish a little bit early today. So there's a lot, of course, to take away. Are there any last questions you may have? Do communicate them with Sarah. Sarah will pass them on to me. But if there's anything further that you want to ask there particularly, do let me know, all right? Okay, gosh, I'm surprised how fast I got through today. Normally it's, of course, 60 minutes, but today I'm like 48 minutes. Okay, oh yes, Philip Jose, what's the best way to improve organic? Oh yes, now that's a very good question, Philip. Yes, indeed. A lot of people ask about improving organic traffic, and of course, there's different ways of Moz, for example, there's got a lot of different things to help you with that side. For example, I don't know if you've seen Moz, to M-O-Z. It helps you with different things to assist you. Often when we are asked to help with the organic traffic and everything, it can sound a little bit like we're avoiding the topic, but of course we're not. We're talking about all the different things that can help you. Now, one of the things, Philip, is that it's ideal if you can increase your, not your carbon footprint, your digital footprint, so that you are appearing in as many places as possible on the internet. So people can find you on YouTube presenting them particular things and assisting and helping them. If you've got things like blogs and everything, that can help a lot. I always think of blog a little bit like an octopus. I mean, I know we're not in the sea, and yes, but the kind of analogy, because each tentacle you could think of like a blog, and the heading of each is, of course, a keyword, which is so important. So your keyword is absolutely vital. So it's so important that you get the correct type of title that people will be searching for. Okay, that can help you a lot as well. Now, there are various tools. Google Trends is one of them. Now, Google Trends, you can find out over time what people are searching for. There's another one, I don't know if you've heard of it, called Exploding Topics. Exploding Topics talks about very popular titles that people are, topics that people are looking for. Now, you can use to a certain extent that as a guidance for maybe some of your titles, but you've got to make sure that it's in the right line and they're not going to bounce off and go, "No, I'm not looking for that," just to give you some ideas. Yes, so if you can find out as much as possible. One of the big things, if you think about it, I always say is when you go, oh, of course, sorry, before I get into that, you've got your website, you've got your Google Business Profile, so you're pairing, another place. Of course, you'll got your organic traffic, which is quite a lengthy process, but it uses all these different things and gradually increases your actual organic ranking. So, and then are you using YouTube? Have you got social media up and running? Is it active? Have you got up-to-date stuff? Have you got any live shows? Um, and or live talks and everything, whatever it might be. So all of these things can help. So yeah, I mean, there are many different factors, but one of the big things is I go on the internet. Sometimes it's to buy, yes, but often I'm actually not going on the internet to buy. I'm going there to look for information for maybe I'm deciding between a pair of mountain boots, whatever. I'm going to look at some videos of some people who've tried them, sort of like up the Himalayas, or those ones that look for a long time, many months. And so all of these different things can help. So a lot of people go onto the internet to find out this information. When they've actually got that information, and then they actually quite appreciate it, and they'll often take on. I'll give you an example. I run a 2D, 3D, and whiteboard animation company, and I got contacted by one of the top 3 consultancy companies. They wanted global companies. They wanted to know whether to use 2D or 3D for their client in London. So I missed the call, but I called her back and I gave her the pros and cons of 2D, 3D, and length of time, price, and everything. And then also mentioned whiteboard animation. I didn't try and sell myself or anything. I was providing them with information. They said, "Thank you very much." I said, "No problem at all." But 5 or 6 hours later, they did call me again and they wanted to take on my company. And of course, it's that information. This is what makes people aware that you actually know what you're talking about. And you are helping people, and people don't forget that. Also, another thing which to do with the blog, I later used that question that they come to me with, 2D or 3D animation, which is best for your company, and that was my most read blog. So, use those questions that your clients ask, or if you don't have the clients, go on to the YouTube or the different social media where different companies are. Find out what people are particularly asking for. Do you provide that? Is there some unique selling point that you provide that other places don't, and people will really appreciate? And the big thing I feel is you're there to help people. And once they've been helped by a video or by a blog or something, they'll think, "Oh, where is this?" And of course, then by then, if it's your blog and your website, they'll see your website and they can find out more about it. If it's a YouTube and everything, then they can see your other videos talking about the different topics. So all of these things come into play. All right, I hope that helps, Philippe Jose, or Philippe Jose. Juliastri Marpang. Okay, my pronunciation, terrible at that, and my apologies. I'm doing my best. So what is some common mistake people do when using Google Analytics? That's a very interesting question. Yes, absolutely. I think Juliastri, I just keep her first name. Juliastri, I think the big problem a lot of people have, the majority, is they go through the process, they get information, they see it, they're, wow, look at this, look at that. Oh, yeah, okay, that's changed. And then they don't actually do anything with it. So the biggest factor is they're not doing anything. Now, of course, I often think of it like, Inspector Clouseau, Inspector Lewis, Inspector Morse, going back further. It's kind of like working out all these different, it's kind of like a detective's work. It's working out, what does this data mean? And of course, like the detectives, they try the different things. They think it must be this, and they test it out, and then they discover they're wrong. And then they go for further analysis to try and work out what this means. It's the same sort of thing with this. It's providing you with information, it's raw data, whatever they can get for you, which is not the not provided one, which of course, unfortunately, there's, people that want to block all tracking and everything. So they get as much information as possible for you. It's all of you Don't forget, there's data analysts. Now, data analysts are particularly trained to take the information and interpret it and work out what it means. So they're very skilled at that. So I would have said the biggest mistake, in my opinion, is not really sitting down and trying to work out something. I also recommend a lot of the ones I have for mentoring. I'd recommend is Google Analytics is so big, it's overwhelming and all the rest. But if you set up what you need and you put it into your dashboard, and then you just spend like 10 minutes a day on it, no more, no less, and you use it for actually working on your, you've heard, of course, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely, SMART goals. You set it up over that, and you increase 20% in the next month, whatever it might be. But you use that as a data provider, so it gives you all that information, and then of course you do your best at using that. And of course, if you make mistakes, then you learn from them. So I hope that helps you a little bit, Yuliastri. It's just kind of working through all of these kind of things and working out what it means. I think one has to go quite far. But the biggest thing as well is don't suddenly spend 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and then nothing for the next couple of weeks. Consistency helps a lot. So just dedicate a little bit of time regularly to it can help masses. I used to be, of course, a music teacher. Can't remember how many students. That's wonderful. You practice 3 hours before this lesson, but if you just do 10 minutes a day, that would really help. So just an idea to help you with. All right, we're now just got 3 minutes left. So we're doing all right in time. Thank you very much, Sarah, for all that, those questions you passed on. That's great. So what are your next steps? Okay, we've covered masses, lots of different sides. Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics 4, there's many different things. There's Google Analytics Academy, don't forget, for Google Analytics version 3. Google Analytics version 4, go onto YouTube, check out for it, and look out for the Google videos, typical Google videos at first, give you an idea, and just to get to know it. All right, so there's a lot to take away, that's great. Let us now, just to remind you one other thing as well, we have got as well free one-to-one mentoring, which of course is available from Google. So this is particularly for small businesses or charities in the UK. You can sign up for Google mentoring, g.co/UK mentoring. Thank you very much, Sarah, providing with the link there. It's an opportunity that we can, as best as possible, to help you with your particular business. All right. I want to thank you all. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for all your different questions and everything. That's been really great. And thank you, Sarah, for providing them to me and everything, passing them on and answering all of those different questions there. We're now going to wrap up here as we are really now out of time. I hope that has been a useful dive, of course, into answering questions with data today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you are interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, a couple of ways that Google Digital Garage webinars in different subjects. If you'd like to check out the schedule of webinars, please see information on this in the description below. There will be different topics, available to watch, and we will be updating the schedule regularly. Also, if you would like to carry on learning online in your own time, check out the Google Digital Garage website for more online training courses, which are available to you 24/7. I recommend the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing, 20 hours, good, run by Gori and Sarah. Okay, so finally, if you have any feedback or questions, please do provide them now, which I can see some of you provided already, which is fabulous. If you want to go even further, it's team@thedigitalgarage.co.uk. Okay, I want to now thank everyone for joining today. We really do look forward to welcome you again to another Google Digital Garage training session soon. Thank you. Bye.